Good afternoon, everyone. I am Engineer Nor R. Dibangkitan, your instructor for this course, GEE142, Curves and Earthworks. Now, Module 1, Reconnaissance, Preliminary Survey, and Location Survey. For this first lesson, we will be defining what are the commonly practiced operations in locating a railroad or a highway. By the end of this module, you should be able to first define what are the operations in locating a railroad or highway, understand the steps and procedures in performing such operations. The operations of locating a railroad or highway, there are three commonly practiced operations. First is Reconnaissance Survey. Second, Preliminary Survey. Location Survey. So, successive ito na mga operation. After Reconnaissance, Preliminary na naman, then Location. So, hindi pwedeng ma-shuffle yung order nila. So, Reconnaissance, then Preliminary, lastly, Location Survey. So, starting with the Reconnaissance Survey. So, Reconnaissance Survey is an extensive study of the entire area. Like, gagawa ka ng road from a location from one community to another community. So, the purpose of this is to eliminate those routes or sites na impractical at saka unfeasible. So, pipiliin kung ano yung most probable na magiging path nung i-construct na highway or railroad, and also to identify the most promising routes or sites. So, in performing reconnaissance survey, you'll have to use, important na gumamit ka ng map. So, sa map, using contour map, yun yung magiging guide mo. So, kung familiar ka sa contour map is yung parang may mga line. So, if you select a line, yung line na doon is same yung lahat ng elevation. So, yun yung magiging guide mo kung ano yung form ng i-construct na daan. So, the Reconnaissance Survey, after Reconnaissance Survey report, nandun na yung nakasummarize na yung mga collected na information. Like, ano yung probable routes, ano yung mga impractical na mga sites. So, ganun. So, reconnaissance. So, first is design. So, design and military characteristics should be considered. So, military kasi, if you are familiar with the C3, so primarily yung purpose ng C3 is not just a detour, but it is a military road. So, that is to be utilized sa mga military na mga purposes, like dadaan isang malaking official. So, ganun. May mga military trucks. So, dun sila dumadaan. Yun yung gagamitin na dadaan. So, a study of the route plans and specification is necessary, of course. If there is unavailable, use the following guides. So, first is you locate portions of the new road along or over the existing roads. So, if gagawa ka ng bagong daan, so it's either i-overlay mo yung existing road or malapit doon sa may existing road. Kasi, pag malapit lang doon, meaning, magiging madali yung operation mo. Locate the road in high bearing strength soil, of course. So, dapat yung magiging road mo is doon ka pipili sa yung malakas na lupa. So, hindi yung bigla na lang magguguho yung lupa or malambot na lupa. So, avoid swamps, marshes, or organic soil, yung mga malalambot na lupa. So, locate the road along ridges and streamlines. So, in this way, yung magiging drainage ng structure mo is magandang drainage niya. So, less yung so, kung nakikita nyo, especially dito sa Marawi, na hindi na contain yung water doon mismo sa daan. So, magiging maganda yung drainage ng daan. So, avoid sharp curves and locations So, of course, so kailangan smooth yung magiging. Select route near the sources of material, and as I was saying kanina, it must be along the contour line. So, to avoid unnecessary earthworks. So, para isa lang yung elevation na magiging daan mo as much as possible. Now, near the source of material, then locate the road on a sunny side of hills and canyons. So, locate roads in forward combat zones. Then, select locations which conserve engineer assets. So, meaning, i-avoid mo yung may mga malaking rock work or yung mga excessive clearing. So, hindi mo, kung gagawa ka ng daan, then, from community to community, between them is merong like mga kagubatan or mga maraming bato. So, hindi mo, like, para mas mabilis yung way that is the shortest route. But, that is the most expensive na route din. So, parang i-segue mo siya to avoid those rock work or yung mga excessive na clearing. So, merong mga roadway criteria to follow to ensure satisfactory results. So, merong about sa, of course, lahat naman ng mga construction is merong standards. So, yung road specification, meron din. So, that is merong width, sight distance, low grades, horizontal curves, vertical curves, drainage, and traffic. So, collection of data. So, upon completion nung Reconnaissance Survey, dapat yung magiging data is ipapakita niya yung advantages and disadvantages yung of all routes reconnoitered. So, during Reconnaissance Survey, hindi lang isa yung possible na route na magiging outcome. So, pwedeng dalawa or tatlo showing advantages and disadvantages. So, for further study na naman. So, typical data collected in Reconnaissance Survey are sketches of all routes reconnoitered. So, could be 1, 2, 3. Reports of feasible routes. That is the data on clearing and grubbing. So, the number of stream crossings involving bridge spans. So, meron din kasing mga daan na you'll have to cross streams. So, kailangan ng bridge, of course. So, the approximate number of culverts na ilalagay. Description of sizes and marshes areas, natural obstacles, unusual grade and alignment problems encountered. Then, anticipated effects of landslides, melting snow sa mga ibang lugar, and rainfall. So, soil conditions, of course, kailangan yon. Then, discrepancies noted in maps and aerial photographs. So, lahat ng mga na-observe in doing Reconnaissance Survey dapat well recorded. So, availability of local materials, kung malayo ba siya may malapit ba na mga materials na pwedeng pagkukunan. So, ganoon. Then, photographs and sketches, of course, kailangan may mga photograph in doing the I mentioned kanina yung use of maps. So, use of map in this phase is very important, especially if you are using a large-scale topographic maps. So, large-scale topographic maps show great detail on contour. So yung contour is yung parang ganito. So, parang ganito yung map. So, ganyan. So, nakaganyan siya. Parang may mga linya-linya. So, yung contour na yan, itong contour na to, if you are to follow this, iisang elevation lang to. So, parang walang sloping na ground. So, pwedeng pataas to or pwedeng pababa din. So, depende sa map. So, if large scale topographic maps depict the terrain in greatest detail. So, magiging guide mo siya sa survey. Now, after reconnaissance and all the data are collected, so yung data na na-collect ipapasa naman dun sa preliminary survey team. So, the preliminary survey is a detailed study na siya. So, detailed na siya. Study of the tentatively selected na route on the basis sa Reconnaissance Survey. So, preliminary survey, so gagawin sila ng traverse survey along the route. So, of course, sa GE141, alam niyo anong yung traverse survey. So, mag-establish ng levels, record topography, and plots results. So, also, after preliminary survey, magde-determine sila ng final location. But, yung final location is hindi pa final. So, another team naman, the final location survey, will survey that final location para malaman kung ano na yung kung ayun na ba yung magiging final na location. Now, the team or personnel na kailangan sa preliminary survey is first traverse party. So the traverse establishes the traverse line along the proposed route. So maglalagay sila ng mga control points or stations, measure distances, and establishing intersection. Now next is the after traverse is yung level party naman. So magkakaroon sila ng leveling survey. So they will establish benchmarks and determines the elevation of the selected points along the route. So yan yung magiging process ng preliminary survey, traversing and so next is yung after leveling, next is topographic party. So they will secure enough relief and planimetric detail within the prescribed area to locate any obstacle and allow preparations of rough profiles and cross sections. So sa topographic party, merong dalawang party na under, that is transit stadia party, where it is effective in an open country. So where yung sites is mahaba, then clear yung mga sites, walang masyadong obstacle. Walang masyadong obstacle. Then plain table party naman is used where the terrain is irregular. So plain table surveying is most effective sa mga irregular na terrains. Now after the traversing, leveling, and topographic survey, yung na-collect na naman na data, so after that ma-point out nila kung ano yung probable na final location. So yun naman i-report nila sa final location survey. So, but prior to the after the preliminary survey, so that is prior to final location survey, magkakaroon muna ng meeting or study yung party or yung group as a whole, yung construction office. So, mag-prepare sila ng preparation of map from preliminary survey data, then magpo-project ng tentative alignment and profile and preliminary estimates. That is quantities and costs sa magiging final location. So, the instrument party carefully establishes the final location in the field using, so after the meeting, so ito na yung magiging final location natin. So, meron namang instrument party na i-establish nila yung final location. So, after ma-establish yung final location, so the surveyor or yung location na yon, hindi dapat siya ma-change without the authority of the officer in charge. So pag na-establish na yung final location. So first is running the center line. So lahat ng roads nag-start sa center line. Tsaka siya i-offset kung ilang lane. So the center line may vary from paper location due to objects or conditions that were not previously considered, but the final center line determines all the construction lines. So, i-mark na yung mga station, pag may center line na, doon na mag-mark na ng stations, magle-level ulit, and magsaset ng grades. So, kung napapansin nyo, sa mga kalsada, pag may nagsasurvey, nagsisulat sila ng mga number na ganito. So, this is how they number the stations. So, stations could be 1 foot long or 30-meter stations, or depende sa surveyor. So, the surveyor also sets stakes at important points along the center line. So, aside from the station, imamark din ko yung mga may culverts or may mga road intersection or beginning and end of the curves and breaks in grade. So, kung papataas na ba doon or pababa na ba doon. So, yun yung magiging center line. So, when the measurement is made, so in stations, in feet, these stations are numbered from the last full station plus 00. So, they are called plus stations. So, example, so kung may station na 4 plus 44.75, that would be 44.75 feet away from station 400. So, that is 400 plus 44.75. So, say, ang station niya is every 100 foot. 100 foot. So, nakaapat na siya na station. Then, at 44.5, say, kailangan maglagay ng culvert. So, supposed to be next after 400 is 500 na. But, may mga important detail. So, nag-stop ito yung so, nag-mark sila ng another station. So, reference stakes. So, this control points established by the Reconnaissance Survey determine the construction layout. So, these points must be carefully referenced. So, dapat, pag naglagay ka ng stake or ng mark, is dapat firm na siya doon. So, hindi siya dapat natatanggal or na move. So, the surveyor should set control point references far enough from the construction to avoid disturbance. So, example is ng reference is yung sa may malapit sa public, yung may parang monument doon na nakalagay na 0 plus 00. So, lahat ng mga construction or mga road construction is sa Mindanao is dito nag-reference. So, ginawa ng solid doon para hindi na siya na-move. Far from disturbances or ano. So, after naman, so gagawa ng profile and cross section. So, after the center line of the road, and nag-stake na, so, it is now time to determine the elevations along that center line and across the center line. So, the surveyor performs these operations known as profile leveling. So, profile leveling is, say, magsasurvey siya. So, leveling is about taking elevations. So, ito yung center line. So, isi-survey niya to. So, ito yung road. So, pag may mga level na siya, so, it is a, like, parang elevation. So, parang elevation. So, say, yung road na yan is paakyat. So, say, parang ganyan. So, ganyan yung initial na state ng soil. So, ito yung ground. So, ito yung mga elevation niya. So, yan yung profile, profile ng road na yun. So, tsaka na maglalagay ng grade or yung final na slope ng magiging road. So, as separate operations but at the same time as the elevation of points along the center line or other fixed lines. So, the interval usually coincides with the station interval. So, but shorter intervals may be necessary due to abrupt changes in terrain. So, say, kung may biglang lumalim na part doon, so, you'll have to stop there to take an elevation. So, para makonsider para mas, the shorter the interval, the accurate the profile will be. So, from this profile, the design engineer determines the grade of the road. So, yung sabi kanina. So, pag profile na, so, i-determine na niya ano yung magiging grade ng road. So, ano yung ilang percentage yung magiging slope ng road. The cross-section elevation make it possible to plot view of the road across the road at right angles. These plotted cross-sections determine the volume of work. So, yung cross-section naman is across the center line. So, pag nagkuha siya ng cross-section dyan, so say yung initial na state ng soil dito is paganyan. So, in that way, makukuha mo kung ano yung volume may estimate kung ano yung volume ng cut ng soil at station na yan. So, every station meron kang profile or cross section. So pwede mo ma-compute yung magiging volume ng soil. So pwedeng magka-cut ka or pwedeng mag-fill ka. So ganun. So yan yung getting the cross section. So sa cross section naman malalaman kung ano yung magiging volume ng earthwork na excavate or i-fill. So that's it. So reference C. Franklin Allen, Railroad Curves and Earthworks, 6th edition. So that is a McGraw-Hill book. Then also Surveying Principles and Applications, 5th edition by Kavanagh and Bird. So I want you to search on this para pwede kayo magbasa din doon. That ends our module 1 and good afternoon.